Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When on Patron, and of course, adfreeshows.com. And Tony, it's Saturday, 6:05. You know what that means.
I do. That means it's time for Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling from 1986. It is our companion show to what we are doing, of course, on What Happened When we're going back and taking a look at World Championship Wrestling of that year.
I'm so excited that we're doing it. We're doing the syndicated show every single Saturday, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. Today's episode will be February 22nd, 1986. We got a lot of stars here. Magnum T.A. is going to be here. Tejo Khan, which by now it's been well established is Tony Khan's uncle. Sandy Scott is going to be here. A rare appearance from Sandy Scott, a badass Arn Anderson interview, a badass Tully Blanchard interview, a badass Dusty Rhodes interview, and the Midnights are in action. And unfortunately, Sam Houston's here. Is Sam Houston did he have naked pictures of somebody? Why is he on every single Mid-Atlantic Championship episode?
Because he's the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Champion, right?
Well, it's lame.
Well, what's lame about it is the fact that Sam could perform in the ring. We've seen it, right?
Yeah.
But they want him to talk.
Right.
And then again, if you're the Mid-Atlantic Champion, you need to talk, and the only way you can learn to talk is go out there and talk.
Right.
Sam was a slow learner, I think, on talking, but he was a good wrestler. So,
Well, did you just call him slow, bro?
slow learner about talking.
You just called him slow.
I didn't call him.
Fire up your WWE network. Go ahead and click on In Ring, scroll down to you see territories, scoot over to the right, and you'll see that Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling logo. By the way, our friend Dick Bourne texted me last week when he watched that episode, and he loved that you put over the classic logo and how it just got you in the feels, because he's about your age and y'all just have the same wrestling experience. And I'm glad we get to go relive this one. This is going to be a short episode, only 47 minutes and 38 seconds. Of course, this is when they would be inserting commercials and trying to monetize that a little bit. So let's fire it up, man. February 22nd, 1986, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. Tony, do you want to give us a quick countdown? Let's get this show on the road, baby.
Quick countdown is coming up. Get your cursors ready or your space bar. And here we go. And 3, 2, 1, play.
Second.
Road Warrior time.
Yeah, it's dubbed over. So they were probably playing Iron Man here on TV, huh?
No. It's like Jimmy Garvin. They wouldn't play ZZ Top, Sharp Dressed Man.
No, I'm just saying that's what it would have played on the original.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A clip from the Superstars from the Superstation. And now it's time for that iconic theme. Here we go.
We got an exciting 60 minutes in store for you this week. We're going to see an action right here for the World Tag Team Championship. The new, recently crowned World Tag Team Champions, the Midnight Express. Jim Cornette said his champions are going to be fighting champions. They're going to prove that this week by appearing right here, putting those belts on the line on Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. Plus, we have other exciting matches, an action-filled hour for you. Also, fans, all of us here at Jim Crockett Promotions are very proud of the fact that the National Wrestling Alliance has sanctioned the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament. Now, top tag teams from all over the world are going to be appearing in this tournament. It's the first time that the NWA has sanctioned such a tournament, and as I say, we're proud and delighted that it is for Jim Crockett Sr. Now, we hope that that tournament could be held in one of our towns in one of the areas around the Mid-Atlantic area, but the big cities and cities all over the world are bidding for this tournament. We'll just have to wait and see what happens on that, and we'll keep you posted on that and bring you up to date a little later on. Talking about champions, as we were earlier, here's the champion, United States Heavyweight Champion, Magnum T.A. Magnum, always good to see you.
Bob Collins, it's always a pleasure to be here, but I like to beat around the bush, so let's get right to the point. The main man on my mind is Nikita Koloff. Now, Nikita Koloff, you know in your heart that I won this all by myself, and whenever I go in the ring to defend the United States Heavyweight Championship, I do it by myself. Now, if you want to talk about tag teams, then you're talking about America's team, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and myself. So if that's what you want, that's fine. But if you want to jump in on my match, if you want to bring all your friends down, all your cronies, all your comrades, all your Russian friends, well, that's that's fine too. But let you be knowing this one thing. If you want to make this thing real nasty, if you want to try to hurt somebody, if you want to try to put somebody out of professional wrestling, then I can be just as bad a dream as you ever thought about being, my friend. Because I didn't get this handed to me on a silver platter, and I certainly don't intend to keep it by just sitting it up on a shelf and looking at it and admiring it for what it is. The United States Heavyweight Championship is something that's real important to me and something I fought real hard to keep. So if you want to take this away from me, if you have any aspirations of taking this back to Russia with you, then you're going to have to leave me laid out a lot longer than you did the last time. A little bit of pain I can handle. A whole lot of pain I can handle. Before it's over with, Nikita, I'm going to teach you a whole new meaning of the word pain. The U.S. heavyweight title is going to stay around my waist. And if you want to deal with America's team, go on and take a big bite out of us, because you won't be able to chew it up.
Now, Magnum talking about the comrades of Nikita. They're in the ring. Here is Ivan Koloff and his comrade, the German Baron von Raschke.
By the way, is it just me, or did it sound like he said, I had to fart real hard for this?
I think he did say that. I think he also used the word carny there. Magnum sometimes got his words crossed, but man, that never slowed him down. It was the appearance, right? It was the presence that made you overlook that stuff. It was good. It was good, man. But you know, one thing I just started thinking about this. I think we're back in Rock Hill here, which was a great Winthrop College Coliseum, which was a great venue for us right outside of Charlotte. Great venue. I think that we made a mistake here, and it was, I guess it's because we didn't care about it, or we didn't have any, I don't know. Or maybe we didn't know how to do it. But those interviews were not fed to the house.
Right.
And that may have been a mistake. I don't know. You heard him cheer as he'd walk in, and then you hear him cheer or scream as he'd walk out. But they weren't hanging on every word because it was just, they couldn't hear it.
Right.
And that's why a lot of times they brought people to the ring. You know, they didn't really have entrances back then. You know, you just go to the ring and they were there. That was old school stuff. The studio, they just started in the ring. And so that's how they always, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling started out as a studio show, and they just did the things that they remembered. The entrances were for, I guess, bigger shows. When did entrances and music come into play? Now, I've often heard that entrances and music were the Freebirds thing. That they started with the rock and roll music, and they were the first group that did that. Is that true?
You know, everybody claims to be first. I mean, Junkyard Dog has at one point claimed to be first. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of people who claim to be first, but yeah, if you listen to Michael Hayes, he used entrance music first. But I mean, I've always believed Gorgeous George was first. Okay. Because he came out to the old pomp and circumstance like the Macho Man did. Right.
But there you go.
Yeah.
Well, the Freebirds, hi, we're the first to use rock and roll music.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Hi. Hey, how's Denzel doing? Ate that fucking ball I gave you up, motherfucker. What kind of stupid ass hat you got on today? Hey. How is that motherfucker? You talked to him lately?
I do. I talked to him earlier this week. He finally got around to listening to my podcast with Bruce Pritchard about Michael Hayes, and he was texting us as he was listening every time something was inaccurate. No, it wasn't Chicago. It was so-and-so town, still Illinois, but get your shit right. It's like, buddy, that show was 2 years ago.
Oh, Jesus.
I've been busy. Okay. Sorry.
I'm going to send him. These shows have helped me out a great deal. I'm going to contact JJ, see how he's doing.
Great. We got, by the way, well, I don't want to tip our hand, but we do those business calls every Monday night, those Zooms for our group, all that we do with podcasting, whatever. Mm-hmm. And, we got some fun stuff planned this year.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to a commercial break, and when we come back, Tony Khan's uncle. Stay tuned.
It is not. You lying piece of...
What are you talking about? Why would I lie? Let's track back.
In this hour, you'll be seeing the new World Tag Team Champions, the Midnight Express, along with their manager, Jim Cornette, as they put their championship on the line and defend their title. Well, they won that championship from an outstanding team, the Rock and Roll Express, in a match that's got to go down as one of the classic World Tag Team matches of all time. These two teams really went at each other, with the Midnight Express winning. Let's see how they did it.
Beautiful, Bobby. Wait a minute. Dennison's got to help me. Oh, he moved out of the way. All right. Come on. You son.
Isn't it crazy? This was 3 weeks before and we're still showing clips of it.
Yeah. Well, again, this is a filler spot. And the way I know it's the filler spot is they got the Jim Crockett Promotions logo behind.
Backdrop, yeah.
Yeah.
So remind everybody again, a filler spot. This would have been localized promos, right?
Right. Yeah. It was usually promos went whatever you wanted them to go when they were finished talking, but these went 2.5 minutes, or actually it was 2:28. We would go till the clock, and they'd have the clock on the monitor right in front of us there, right up in the corner. The clock would do the countdown. And that's how they knew to count down. Jackie in the studio would also run the camera and count them down as well. I learned how to do countdowns from Jackie Crockett. So this will be covered up. And I think it's good here, instead of having Sam Houston, Nelson Royal come out and talk for 2.5 minutes, to show this.
I'd rather watch this than Sam Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. Because as you said, when it came to interviews, he was a little bit slow on doing the interviews, as you said earlier.
That's the most Conrad thing you've done on the show in 2021. You dirty ratting scoundrel, you.
Here's the finish. No. David's going, no.
They did it.
That was the bell. It's over. Looking for the belts. Oh, no, there's new champions.
No. All right, and that's how it happened, fans.
And here he is, Tony Khan's uncle. How much? I mean, when you look at this guy's look, first of all, he was in the movie Body Slam. Did you remember that?
I did not. I don't even think I saw that movie.
I saw it back in the day. And I just recently watched it this year with Evan Polisher, who helps us run adfreeshows.com. By the way, it's over. Tony Khan's uncle running through all the competition. Mm-hmm. He should try out for the Jags.
Well, the Khans have been known to run through all the competition. And they're going to have a great team coming up this year, the Jags.
Are you excited about the new coach?
Yes. Yes.
Have you met Urban Meyer yet in real life?
No, I'm not. I'm a dog.
No, I know you hate him, but now he's your man, so you love him.
Right. That's the way it happens in life. You just never know, right?
You're like Ric Flair. Every year there's a new favorite team.
Yeah.
Now, listen, here's how you know.
Okay.
And this is a peek behind the curtain. Sometimes we betray company secrets here because we just feel good about it. Here we go.
Kind of great things happening. The Midnight Express are the World Tag Team Champions. Just like I said we would be. The Rock and Roll is past. Their history, they're done for. They are nothing. America's team, all the other teams in wrestling, gear up because the Midnight Express is coming. And, the Rock and Roll Express weren't fighting champions. They never defended their titles on TV. Well, we're going to today against one of the fastest rising young stars in professional wrestling, Mid-Atlantic champion Sam Houston, and the greatest black athlete in the history of sports, Pistol Pez Whatley, as a team World Tag title match here today. What do you want?
I want to tell you, I know you haven't come down yet. Hey, here's a man.
What are you doing?
Sandy Scott, Associate Director of Jim Crockett Promotions, and I think he's got something to say that's going to interest you very much.
Mr. Cornette, Bob Geigo of the National Wrestling Alliance, the president, has informed me of a $5,000 fine against you for interfering in a World Tag Team title match and bringing your racket in.
Let me ask you a question. Hey, what? Okay, what?
They have many meetings on this, and they feel that $5,000 is suitable for your actions.
Well, I'm glad they think that's suitable. I'm glad that.
My feed just paused on me. I'm at 12:23.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure what happened.
33. I'm at 12:35, and Dennis is hitting Ricky with the racket. You want to go forward here a little bit.
Well,
but that's the way it is with technology from Alabama.
Well, the network's not from Alabama, Tony.
Yeah, but technology to bring the network to you.
All right, so where do you want me to go? Because I'm still at 12:23.
All right, I'm at 12:54, 55.
Why don't we just pick it up at 12:23?
All right, I'll go back 12:23. Okay. All right, I'm at 12:23 right now.
3, 2, 1.
Pleases them. Is that going to make them happy? You know something, if I had I didn't bring my wallet out here because I figured Bob Cottle will try to get in my pocket, but since I don't have my wallet, I'll send him a check because my mama would pay $5,000 at the drop of a hat. $5,000 is nothing because the World Tag Team Champions make $500,000 a year apiece. I figure that's a real good investment to make. So that don't bother me in the slightest. I'm sorry that we've offended the NWA. My tennis racket would have never been brought in the ring in the first place, Sandy Scott, except that Robert Gibson of the Rock and Roll Express jerked me in the ring, and Robert used it to nearly decapitate one of my men. I never used the racket to interfere or do anything else. It's my security blanket. Mama gave it to me just a sort of a thing to take care of me while she's not around. I never use this racket in the ring.
Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express fans. All right, let's go to the ring.
Tully Blanchard here, going to make short work of Mike Schiavone. Am I saying that right? Schiavone?
Schiavone, I don't remember. I like this Tully Blanchard robe. Always did. The black one.
I think that recently was just sold in the last year.
Good. A word about Sandy Scott, one of the truly nicest men in the world. And something else, his brother, George Scott, right?
Yep.
They were not on speaking terms.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it ended up like that because they're no longer with us. I know Sandy's not, I don't know, but I'm sure George is not. But I remember I remember trips where Sandy would talk to Gene about it. He says, Gene would talk about, you and your brother ever get things worked out? And he would go, hell no. The way he did us when he was here, they really were not on speaking terms. So, and I don't know the story. And yeah, I bet you again, Peggy Lathan knows the story of that. Because I think Peggy was the one that got in touch with me that Sandy had passed away in Roanoke. He lived his last couple of years in Roanoke. Because, he did some promoting for Jim Cornette, I believe, in Smoky Mountain.
Sandy passed away in 2010, and George passed away in 2014.
Okay. They were not on speaking terms, but he was a great man.
Not everybody knows the story of what George Scott did. Can you sort of smarten everybody up?
I don't know if I got it right, but George went on to be the booker for Vince, right?
He was the booker here for Jim Crockett for a long time. Yes,
he was. And he was the man that was the booker during my run as a fan.
And then Dusty Rhodes sort of replaces him in late 83.
Right.
And he goes to work for Vince McMahon and books WrestleMania and Rock and Wrestling, and they're off to the races.
Right.
In hindsight, I don't know, man. It's like they say in divorce sometimes, it might have been cheaper to keep her, but maybe it was time to make a change. How about these elbows all over the body?
Yeah. They're good, man.
Normally when you see an elbow, the guy just drops it on the chest right below the chin, but he went all the way around the body with it.
Yeah. He would do that periodically, but one of our keywords, but it was always good. And so what was the exact heat between Sandy and George? I don't know, but it had to do with wrestling. And I don't know if it had to do with after George had left or the breakup or what happened. And of course I've documented very well that when George came back and Jim Herd and Jim Barnett brought him back, that it didn't work out at all. And it was apparent from the word go, it didn't work out from the first meeting that I was in. So, yep, we're on speaking terms, but two very influential guys. And Sandy used to tell me some great stories traveling with him. He was so funny. He used to tell me some great stuff. He said, the story I remember was there was a wrestler who, when I was younger, named Mr. Wrestling Tim Woods, who's no longer with us. You familiar with Mr. Wrestling Tim Woods?
Yep.
Okay, so Tim Woods at times wore the white mask, and at times didn't. And he said Tim Woods was one of the greatest athletes ever in the ring. He said he's a former wrestler, I think from Iowa. I said, he said he was great. He could do a lot of stuff in the ring. He said, but out of the ring, he trip over his own 2 feet. And he said there were many times that we would be a tag team partner, and I would tag Tim Woods in, and he'd stumble through the ropes and fall forward. He said, get in the ring, man. He could really go, but he was so clumsy outside of the ring, which I thought was a funny story because I loved Tim Woods so much. But Sandy was a great man. I miss him. And again, it's Tony Schiavone being Tony Schiavone and not staying in touch with his friends.
Tim Woods was on that Flair plane crash, was he not?
I believe you are correct, sir. Tim Woods, David, Bob Bruggers, and Johnny Valentine.
All right. Do you want to listen to this Sam Houston promo? Or
yeah, we might as well give him a chance.
Okay.
Sam right here, Mid-Atlantic champion. Sam, you got a great opportunity now to add another championship.
Boy, Bob, I sure do. I've got an opportunity right now in just a few minutes here for the World Tag Team Championship held by the Midnight Express with Jimmy Cornette. You know, I heard a few minutes ago out here, Jimmy Cornette was talking about the challengers, myself, the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Champion, and the greatest, and I mean the greatest black wrestling star in America and in the whole world today in Pistol Pez Whatley. Jimmy Cornette, let me tell you one thing real quick. We're coming out there to win. We're not coming out there to play no games. We're coming out to put your Midnight Express and you down because that's something we both want. We're both world title hungry, and I think together maybe we've got the edge, and maybe we can put you down for the count. So don't take us too lightly, Cornette, because we're coming full of steam and ready to go. So you be ready for us, Cornette, because we're going to get it on in just a little bit right here in the middle of the ring, right here on TV. So have your Midnight Express ready, brother, because we're coming head of steam, brother. We're coming. And Ronnie Garvin's got a few things he wants to say.
Ronnie,
too.
that desire goes a long way, doesn't it?
Oh, he's going to do it. I know the feeling. You know, people say, well, what's on your mind, Garvin? Well, what's on my mind is Ric Flair, and Ric Flair will remain on my mind. At times, you know, I feel I'm in a traffic jam, sort of. You know, everybody's after Flair. We know Dusty Rhodes, Magnum T.A, I mean, it goes on and on. Everybody's after the big man. You know, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. Well, I'm going to tell you, I feel I'm in a traffic jam. I've got to go around people, over people. Right. Well, I'm not a little Volkswagen. I'm a Big Mac truck. And I'm going to be right up there, and I'm going to go through that traffic jam. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to look at each other one more time in the eye, Ric Flair. And I know every time you look at me, you're scared because I can tell. You know, if you go undefeated, you can't go forever undefeated. Ric Flair has gone too long, and Ric Flair's number is up, and it's just a matter of time.
World Television Champion Arn Anderson, fans.
Bob Caudle, I don't like to come out here and get in your face all hot and blowed up like a big blowfish, but every arena, it seems like every building I go to, or every mall I go to, or every restaurant I go to, some idiot is over in the background holding some sign, "You're next." What does "you're next" mean?
You're next, Arn. They're saying you're next. It's only Arn's next.
Well, if we're talking about what I think we're talking about, Dusty Rhodes, being the fact that you're going to attempt to break my leg, Bob Caudle, wouldn't that qualify as being a criminal offense, threatening a man about breaking his leg? Well, Dusty Rhodes, you're talking about you send your stooge out here, that painted lady out here to threaten me. I'm next. You're going to break my leg. Well, let me tell you something. This is the prize. This is what you want. Don't worry about looking for me, Dusty. I'm going to be looking for you. If you claim this is your belt, any arena in the world, you got 20 minutes to earn it. But you got to beat me, and nobody can do that.
Arn Anderson, the World Television Champion. Here's Ronnie Garvin in the ring as we're ready for the bell, Johnny.
The Golden Terror, one of your favorites.
GT, baby. I was trying to figure out where exactly the filler commercial was, and it was Ronnie Garvin and Sam Houston because they went to black out of that, and then they came back up with Arn. That wasn't one of Sam Houston's worst interviews. It stumbled at the beginning, but he picked it up at the end, and of course, then Arn Anderson shows him how to do it after that.
I want to mention he's going to marry Baby Doll this summer, July 30th, 1986, in Lubbock, Texas.
Which means here in February, they were already into their affair.
Oh, for sure.
Their love affair.
They got divorced in 94. And of course, unfortunately, Mr. Houston ran into a little bit of trouble with the law. I think around, well, I don't want to say how many, but a lot of DUIs. Got him in prison.
All right. That's a
so
shame.
yeah. But he's pulled the nose up and
Yeah, well, good for him.
I see him whenever we have some appearances here and there at Fan Fest and that type of stuff.
We have a lot of guys who, in their later years, and I know I'm not only talking about Jake the Snake and Scott Hall, that obviously Dallas helped tremendously, but we've had a lot of guys who pulled the nose up later in life, which is good.
Absolutely,
because the lifestyle that these guys led was unheard of. Unheard of. No other athlete in the world had a schedule like a pro wrestler did. None. Every day of the year, no off season. I know you've heard that cliche before, but no off season. You had to work or you didn't get paid, and you worked through injuries. So obviously you had to do some things to break the monotony. And I get it. Alcohol, drugs, I get it.
Not just the monotony, but I mean, you're missing family events. You're going to miss your kid taking their first steps, or not be able to coach your kid's little league team, or not be able to go see your daughter's dance recital, whatever. Yeah. There's all those moments that you miss because you got to be at a spot show in Virginia.
That's right.
And that sucks, but that's reality. And then while you're there, you're the life of the party and everybody loves you and they're cheering and hooting and hollering your name. And when you're done, you go to the Ramada Inn and you're all by yourself and there's no family, and you got a little hiccup in your giddy up, your hips hurting and your shoulders hurting. And somebody says, "Hey man, take this and you'll feel better and we can make Chattanooga tomorrow." And you do.
Right.
And before you know it, one doesn't work and you need two, and two doesn't work and you need four. And just being in your room by yourself sucks. So you go downstairs and there's Ric Flair holding court and having drinks. And you're like, well, shit, I'll just stay for one drink. And before you know it, man, you're in a bad way. And I see how it could happen. And
I do too.
I'm sympathetic to those guys. And whenever they do pull the nose up and it's a success story, it's good to share. And by the way, Ronnie Garvin, big success story here, knocks him out, teabags him, gets the pinfall, and then just jumps the guardrail right into the fans. He's the man of the people because he's proud to be an American. Everybody knows that.
Always like to see this. Oh, he clocked him that time.
Tully Blanchard's coming up next here.
Okay.
Tully Blanchard Enterprises, Mr. James J. Dillon. Tully.
Bob Cottle, you just saw Ronnie Garvin, the hands of stone, with an illegal maneuver. The punch is illegal in professional wrestling. Right or wrong? You're right. Okay. Now, everybody wants to talk about Tully Blanchard cheating. James J. Dillon cheats. Everybody cheats. Everybody does this. But what you saw, they all want to clap, clap, clap for Garvin, Dusty Rhodes, Magnum T.A., and all they can do is use these. You get in there and get down to real catch-as-catch-can wrestling, and that's when people like Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Ric Flair, 3 of the 4 horsemen, that's when they excel inside the squared circle. So Dusty Rhodes, now that the domino effect is almost over, and James, I'm going to make a little prediction. The month of February, within 6 weeks, James J., we will be the National Heavyweight Champion, maybe the United States Heavyweight Champion too, may have both of them over within 6 weeks, because I'm tired of everybody else not talking about Tully Blanchard. Because I tell you what, I am what's happening in professional wrestling. Tully, that's how you spell wrestling. Tully Blanchard Enterprises, with this man right here heading it up, James J. Dillon, I can't go wrong. You mark my words. 6 weeks, Dusty Rhodes, you're going down. I'm giving you a time limit. That's it. 6 weeks, I excel better under pressure. I'm putting pressure on myself. 6 weeks, mark my words.
All right, fans, we'll be right back after we take time out for this message.
We want to take time to give you this summer announcement, baby. The heat is here, and if you're like me, that means your whole body is sweating. Cracks, crevices, pits, packages, feet, everywhere in between, and the last thing you want is odor. You got to stop that odor before it starts. That's going to shut down all the fun if you're the stinky guy showing up. So, you need to check out our friends at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. That's going to be your best friend this summer. Clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours with all the incredible scents. I'm talking about cologne quality scents. Pro Sport, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, and the best one I like my butt smelling like bourbon leather. baby. All right. Mando whole body deodorant. Whatever you're doing this summer, hiking, kayaking, Mando is what it is. Hey, if you're a big guy like me, Mando also reduces chafing. Yeah. Keep them thighs from getting raw, rubbing together with the whole body deodorant and our friends at Mando. They are going to take care of you. All right. Here's how you can take advantage of a very special offer. New customers get $5 off Mando's best-selling starter pack with code WHW at shopmando.com. And when you shop Mando, you're going to get a quality product, a whole body deodorant, seriously safe to use anywhere on your body, and created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. And look, if you're healthy and you want to worry about what's in the products that you put in your body, guess what? Mando is here for you. Aluminum free, baking soda free, cruelty free, dye free, and vegan. And that's why you can be living worry free this summer and odor free with our friends at Mando. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like maybe the mini body wash or the deodorant wipes, and you get free shipping. And luckily, we got a discount code to help you get hooked on the favorite smelling whole body deodorant that is sweeping the summer up in delicious smells. It's the best on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with the exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code WHW at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Did you hear me? $5 off Mando's best-selling starter pack with code WHW at shopmando.com, shopmando.com. And we thank Mando for supporting us here at WHW.
By the way, TULLY, that's how you spell wrestling, is a new shirt available now over at boxofgimmicks.com. And here he is wearing his WCW shirt, The American Dream.
Dusty, by the way, I don't know whether you heard Tully Blanchard or not. He gave you 6 weeks. He said that's all you got to be national champion.
Well, you know, Bobby Cottle, Tully Blanchard seems to not understand Dusty Rhodes at all. When he talks about Dusty Rhodes and talks about Baby Doll, he forgets that over 1 year went by. Him and Baby Doll pranced around this country, Baby Doll doing everything for him. I mean, doing whatever needed to be done, and he could not stand the heat and had to get out the kitchen. He went down and run down my main man, the boogeyman Jimmy Valiant. And Jimmy Valiant held his own, as I recall, Tully Blanchard. I don't see him walking around on crutches like old Anderson. Arn Anderson out there talking about the world's television title. I got 20 minutes to beat him. When I make up my mind to want something, to get something, this is proof. And Arn Anderson, the proof around your waist. Now you talk about all the plumbers, all the textile workers, all the real hard blue-collar working people in this country knows that Dusty Rhodes tells it like it is. When I tell you I'm going to do something, it's going to happen. So stop pleading your case to it. When I get around to you, I'll let you know. Until I get around to you, it's the dreams way. I am the dealer. I deal the cards. There's nobody any greater, any better, anywhere in the world of professional wrestling. So you got to go to bed wondering when your shot's gonna come. I don't. I'm the one holding the cards. The 3 horsemen, Baby Dollar left. Tully Blanchard, Ric Flair, and Arn Anderson. Inside a steel cage, I will break your leg, Arn Anderson, and make you pay some dues that you got coming. Remember that the American Dream said it, because this little old plumber son from Austin, Texas is the Tower of Power.
Ladies and gentlemen, the NWA World Tag Team Champions, the men who represent you, whether you like it or not. Loverboy Dennis and beautiful Bobby the Midnight Express.
What do you think of Dusty's promo?
Tremendous.
So good, dude.
Yeah, man. He just and Baby Doll looks so good on camera. She was so photogenic on camera, and have you heard stories of why he had her as his valet?
You got a theory?
Well, I think it's a theory that, my theory was that she was so beautiful that he wanted to make sure that someone that beautiful was with him.
Yeah, sure.
Put more eyes on him. I mean, he's the booker, right? He can make the call.
I mean, he painted his face and made himself a road warrior, became the sixth man. I mean, yeah, Dusty.
Right.
Nobody sells out Charlotte without the American dream. Yeah.
Right. I mean, listen, I want to dispel any rumor about Dusty having an affair with her, because that didn't.
Oh, no, we're not.
No, yeah, it did not. But
gosh, my mind didn't even go there. You know what I mean?
But you know what? There's some people who have a mind like that. Like,
no, I get it. I mean, I'm glad you clarified. We're not trying to start rumors.
Right,
we only tell the truth. Like, before we get too far down the road, I started to reveal something I probably shouldn't, but you guys have used the Khan family's Ford GT, that $1 million Ford, on AEW programming a bunch. And whenever you see the plate, there's like a gimmick plate, like license plate on it. But, and I know I shouldn't be sharing this, but I mean, normally it says Tejo in order to honor, his brother and Tony's uncle. So yeah, there's a vanity license plate on that Ford GT running around Florida, honoring the fallen Khan, Tejo.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying about Baby Doll, because we're truth tellers here.
Okay. Does Alabama have front and back license plates?
We're only required to have back. A lot of people do have front, but it's like something stupid and airbrushed with a unicorn or a dolphin.
No. Some states, Virginia, you got to have a front and back.
Yeah.
Right. Because I thought maybe yours in Alabama would be UA on front and lie in the back.
No.
Because that would be, or ULI would probably fit on an Alabama license plate next to some redneck football thing, or in your case, who fucking knows?
Actually, one of my tags does say WHW.
Does it really?
No, I'm not a mark.
Look behind you, you son of a bitch.
These are investments behind me.
Oh, got it.
I mean, you heard that I've turned down a 6-figure offer on one of those belts.
Mock.
You mock. By the way, there's nothing wrong with being a mark. We're all marks. My God.
We are. Yeah.
You're traveling all over the country. You're such a big mark for wrestling. And look at me.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting in this dungeon talking about Sam Houston 35 years later. Come on.
Speaking about being a mark, I was thinking we were going over the reasons why, the logical reasons why guys in this era, and even before then, you had used alcohol a lot, drugs a lot. We get it. We understand it. And you talked about being away from your family. I always really appreciated my niche in wrestling for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I got to be involved in it. Right. It was one of my passions. But number two was I was involved in it and I was still able to be there for my kids.
Right.
Because I didn't travel every day. I traveled some, I did ring announcing for Jimmy out West, and I traveled some, it was a glimpse enough for me, but I didn't need to do it and I didn't take bumps. So, I mean, this was great. It was great for a person to be involved in wrestling in this level back then. And I appreciated that. I really did. I thought about these guys a lot, about being away from their families and traveling all the time. And I just show up at TV and then go work in the office, and then didn't have to file 1099s, because I did file 1099s because I got paid extra, but not like they did. Their entire financial finance were based on 1099s. Had to do their own taxes. And you know what? That was tough, man. And that's why a lot of the guys got in tax trouble. Get all that money. It's tax time. How much have you spent? How much you got left?
Get all that money. Listen to you. Get all that money. I want to get all that money is what I want to do.
Hey, twice in this show, they have referred to Pistol Pez as the greatest black athlete.
Yeah.
Okay. And
bit of a stretch.
Okay. But still, I wonder if they're heading to the angle where Pez turns into Shaska. Because he did turn into Shaska Whatley based on an interview he did with Jimmy Valiant. because he was with Jimmy Valiant, and Jimmy said, I think I was holding the microphone. Jimmy Valiant said, "This is the greatest black athlete."
You're right.
And he put in, and Pez stopped. Pez would shake his head back and forth. And when he said black athlete, Pez stopped, looked at him, and, beat the fuck out of him.
In 1986, after Valiant called Whatley the best black athlete in professional wrestling, Whatley turned on Valiant and cut some of Valiant's hair, thinking Valiant's comment was racist. Whatley then became a heel, joined Paul Jones' army, and renamed himself Shaska Whatley. So
when was that? What was
1986.
Yeah, so maybe they're just laying the foundation here for it.
It's coming soon, baby.
Yeah.
By the way, this TV taping that we're watching, threw him into the ropes. Dennis Condrey don't give a damn.
Oh, man.
Rock Hill, South Carolina, the Winthrop Coliseum.
Yep.
You ever get a beach back there?
There was no beach near there. That was not on the coast.
Okay.
I know what you're referring to.
Sam Houston probably did, though. I mean, you reminded us last week with some very foul language.
Really?
Can you believe that this is the rest of the show? Like, they're giving this match a lot of time. Like, there's 13 minutes left or so, and it's all this match.
Yeah. Well, Pez was good, buddy.
The dark match this night, by the way, is Dusty and Magnum taking on Bobby and Dennis. So they're doing double duty here.
All right. Yeah. Well, what happened? What will happen after this show is they'll tape worldwide.
They filmed this on the 11th. It's airing here on the 22nd. By the way, a perfect companion for what we're doing here, if you haven't already picked it up, is the MidAtlanticGateway.com website. Just type in MidAtlanticGateway.com, and you'll see just more Jim Crockett and Mid-Atlantic than you can possibly shake a stick at.
Yeah, just good stuff.
He's got a new book over there too. He being our great friend of the show, Mr. Dick Bourne. We've referenced the Big Gold Book, which is obviously a hot topic with this being the 35th anniversary this year. But Crown Jewel, which was the old NWA World Championship from way back when, is available now at MidAtlanticGateway.com.
Wow.
He's kind of become like the Indiana Jones of belts.
Don't go away. The match will continue. Stay tuned to Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling and go to black. Please, quick. 3, 2. Now, go to back. Come on. 3. This may be where you insert the announcer saying,
there we go. Tony Khan's uncle.
And I thought he was devastating in the ring. Tell us something about him, Paul.
Well, this is Tijo Khan from Singapore. You know, a lot of people, I expect great things from this man. Incidentally, he's a foreigner, which I'm very proud of and have a lot of confidence in him. You know, a lot of people are saying, well, why is Paul Jones building such a large army? Well, let me tell you something. I've been pushed around, abused for the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever. And I have no control at all with the NWA. And you have men like Jimmy Valiant, you have men like Ron Bass and Dusty Rhodes, that anything they want from the NWA, they get. They run back at Tattletale and they get their way. Well, listen, my dream is to control the whole wrestling world. And the only way I can do it is with an army. And you know something, Bob? I am getting the best army together. And you might notice, Bob, that they're all from another country. I am getting a superior athlete, the top of the line, from every country. That way I know that when I have my army built, I can control the wrestling world, and the NWA will come to me, and I will have a little monopoly, and I will have more power, and I can get more things done. Now, Bob, isn't that a genius way of looking at the whole situation?
Paul, I got to hand it to you. That is a stroke of genius, but you're bringing in such big, strong, powerful men. Are you going to be able to control them?
That's right. You said big and strong. You don't send a boy to get a man's job done. I can control them. Let me tell you something right now. I control anything.
Dude, how about Khan's eyes bugging out of his head? Dude, it's like you could see the cocaine pulsating through his veins.
Okay, that was the filler again.
Yes, of course.
And why, right before that, why they, they stayed on that shot for that shot with the graphics, stay tuned, because they would insert an announcer saying, I think they used the same announcer forever. Now this word about Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling events coming to your area.
Right.
They would insert that audio there, and then they would go to that. And if you had no Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling events coming to your area, you would go, fuck, man. Damn, I was hoping they'd come to see us. So that's what happened back then. That was cool stuff. I was going to say that one of the things that really, really breaks my heart, and Dick Bourne and I have talked about this, is the old stuff that we grew up on.
Yeah.
Pre-'80s stuff.
Yeah.
Is not there.
Yeah, we can't see it. Yeah.
It's gone.
And explain the reason it's gone, because a lot of people will hear that and say, why won't Vince put it on?
Yeah, well, Vince ain't got it. And the reason he ain't got it is back then, to save money, they would tape over previous footage, use the same tape. So they would burn that tape. It's just like anything else. It's just, for instance, let's say you have a great song that you like on a cassette recorder, if you can remember those.
Yeah.
And you hit play and record at the same time, and you record it over it. That's gone. Can't get it back. Now, these days, you can always hit edit, undo. Okay?
Yeah, not back then.
No, not back then. Once you recorded over it, you had it. And that's what they did. They recorded over shit to save money on videotape cost. Not knowing, not thinking that in the future, this shit would be worth a lot of money to somebody.
Right.
Vince McMahon. And of course, we've certainly enjoyed it as well. But man, God almighty. Sometimes I will scour YouTube to see if somebody's got something on there from Blackjack Mulligan and Ric Flair, and there's nothing. There's nothing. I've seen some old worldwide stuff with Rich Landrum, but that stuff is like 80, 81. And that's when I was getting married and leaving college and kind of had left the wrestling business because I wanted to get my baseball career started. Some of this old Mid-Atlantic stuff shows Jake the Snake Roberts and Blackjack Mulligan Jr. together, or Barry Windham, but I need to see before that. So anyway, so that's doing a pretty good job of getting crowd. I love crowd shots if they're done right.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. And we're doing a little bit more of that. That was a time that I don't think Tommy was, I think Toby Jenkins was the director here, but that was kind of a thing that Tommy Edwards brought into us. He was the director at TBS, went on to work at ESPN, but Tommy was the first person that I remember doing crowd shots. And I think that may have influenced what we were doing here a little bit, because you need it. You need to show the excitement. Close-ups here. I like that.
He directed the very first Clash of the Champions, right?
Oh, yeah. See Klondike Bill walk by and his coveralls, light blue shirt and overalls. I don't know what he was doing. He was probably looking for talent, if you know what I mean.
Would Klondike do like we've seen in a lot of like concert movies and things like that, where he would go find ladies who might want to meet the wrestlers?
No, he wouldn't do that. He wanted to find ladies who want to meet him.
Who wanted to meet Klondike?
Yeah, at that era, probably no. It was Klondike back then is kind of like I am right now. Completely harmless.
Tony, you got hose. Tell the truth.
No, completely harmless.
All right, you got hose. Everybody
there's a misconception that Dr. Britt Baker and I really have something going on.
Oh, that's just nonsense.
Yeah, that is nonsense, because I'm older than her dad, but I'm a friend of hers, and we're together a lot. We are. We've broken bread together. We've had drinks together. There's been pictures of us online, but again, harmless.
There's been pictures of us online.
Yeah. There's a great picture of us online having dinner, laughing. That's what I'm talking. I'm not talking. See, when you think of pictures online, your toilet mind goes in the gutter every time. Every time.
What are you talking
goes
about?
In the gutter. So I'm going back to the original thing I was talking about is that Klondike was harmless back then. So that's what I'm talking about. What else were we talking about here?
You're mean to me sometimes.
No, hey, motherfucker, we're in our 5th season. I know you by now. All right. So don't try to think you're going to change on me.
What does that mean? You know me. I'm not allowed to have feelings.
I mean, when it comes right down to it, you are the biggest bullshit artists of all times.
You can't even say it. I don't want to hear about my bullshit. You can't even say it.
Hey, but you know what? We're yakking through a
really good match. Yeah. I mean,
the
greatest black athlete in the world today and Sam Houston, who's still thinking about his next promo.
Yeah. No, I think he's forgotten about his promos. I think you have to think about your promos to be really good at it.
How about Dennis Condrey tying the bandana around his knee?
How about him hoisting him up that time? And how about Bobby in the purple? Didn't see that much with a purple singlet or a singlet on for Bobby.
Purple people eater.
Yeah.
You know, this is the thing that really separated, I think, the WWF from WCW. The Midnight Express may be the best tag team in wrestling, but man, their gear sucks a dick.
Yeah. They like whatever.
The Crockett's should have come together and gotten them matching outfits.
Right.
I mean, just think about the presentation of the Hart Foundation and Demolition and the Rockers. And there was a look.
Yeah.
And this is just like, hey man, just wake up out of bed and show up with whatever you got on, like you and I do for the podcast here.
Well, it goes back to one word that the Crockett's didn't have and Vince did. It was marketing.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Big clothesline from Dennis Condrey on to Sam Houston. And that's going to get her done here. Bobby Eaton hooks the leg. And that's all she wrote. Wish I got a little bit of time though. Let's track it and see what we're saying as we close the show here.
Is glad to get out of that one. He was in a terrible situation. He was in a terrible situation, Bob. No.
Come on, Johnny.
What a heartbreaking finish for young Sam Houston fans when they almost had it in their grasp. The referee trying to restore order, and at that moment it was all over for Sam Houston as the world champions, the Midnight Express, come on to defeat Pez Whatley and young Sam Houston in a tremendous match, one they'll never forget. That's going to do it for this week. We'll see you next week, and until then, so long for now.
So long for now, motherfuckers.
That was his send-off line, buddy.
So here's what I'm struggling with. You see Sam Houston going for the Bulldog that just last week we were told he was just taught and perfected senior producer Virgil Reynolds. We were just taught that, or just told that Nelson Royal just taught it to him. And now they're going to combine their efforts as a tag team and pursue a tag team championship. The following week, we see Sam Houston get that said tag team title shot, but not with Nelson Royal, the guy who showed him the Bulldog, which set up the pin there. Instead, it's with Pez Whatley. I don't get it. Why wouldn't this have been with Nelson?
Well, let me tell you this. We just talked about, there's Klondike Bill's name. We just talked about, lack of marketing.
Yeah.
There was also lack of continuity.
Yeah. You've said that a lot here on the show.
Yeah. Continuity. So that's why you didn't see it. And of course, if you have a chance to work with Nelson, who's up there in age now, former world junior heavyweight champion, or the greatest black athlete in the world, who would you pick as your partner?
It's fair.
Yeah. So there.
Well, boys and girls, that's going to do it today. Oh, you got something you wanted to fire off on?
I wanted to fire off about Bob filling in at the end. It was timed on the fly. Again, you had, and Wayne Daniel, who you see associate producer, time that. It may be worth our while sometime to talk to Wayne Daniel.
I'd love to. Are you in contact with him still?
No. If you've got 10 hours.
Oh.
Because you think Eric Bischoff goes on and 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 on? Woo! But Wayne was good at what he did.
Well, Bischoff's going on and on and on because we got 97 ads, so we got to find the spot for it.
God bless you.
You know what I mean?
God bless him. Okay.
So that's the only reason he goes on and on and on. In real life, he doesn't do that.
Okay. So good. So anyway, Wayne would time out the show on the fly. And at the end of the show, Bob had to fill.
Right.
Whatever time he had. And Bob did a hell of a job in that, I thought. I always was impressed about how Bob could fill that time. So it was good stuff.
Well, listen, since we're on, Patreon, you can tell us now that's in the rearview mirror. What'd you and Lois do for Valentine's Day?
Nothing.
What does that mean? You just laid the pipe and rolled
guess
over?
what I did for Lois?
What?
I bought her 36 long stem roses.
Why 36? Has it been 36 years?
This is our 39th Valentine's Day together.
You couldn't spring the fucking 3 more roses? You cheap fuck.
That's what they came up with. It's 3 dozen roses.
Yeah, I know how dozens work, but
okay.
Why 3 dozen? You should have went 1 dozen or 39. What the fuck? Here's the thing, man. I got a good gig going. I kind of forgot to order Megan flowers until the day before.
No, really?
So the day before, I called our florist, and we order so much shit for the house there that I know the lady who answers the phone. She said, "Oh, hey, Conrad, what's up?" And I said, I forgot to send Megan something. He's like, "You want it today or tomorrow?" Tomorrow. Okay, what do you want the card to say? Happy Valentine's Day, Conrad. Okay, how much do you want to spend? I tell him the amount. And then, okay, what all do you want in it? I'm like, I don't care. Y'all know her better than me. Just, I don't know what flowers she likes. Like, I mean, I know some things, but it's like, hey, you do flowers here at the house all the time. Put something together. Cool. Spend that amount of money. Yeah. And so then she's like, oh my God, you picked up these. I'm like, hell yeah, I did. Just lying.
Right.
Yeah. So I did that. And, I got some food from Gold Belly and made her a steak and a lobster tail. And we just chilled out here at the house, doing our social distancing thing. We're still not going out and doing a bunch, but I was curious what it looked like over at your house. I just assumed Vienna sausages, beanie weenies,
spam,
all around, dog hair souffle.
I will say that, I cooked dinner.
Really? What'd you make?
We bought this new, thanks to my good friend Steve Yu of DDP Yoga.
Yeah.
Steve's one of the most talented, smartest guys I know.
Unsung hero of AEW.
Oh man, there's nobody like Steve Yu. DDP has no idea what he latched onto when he got that kid. Yeah. He got me into an air fryer.
Oh, those are badass, man. Welcome to the club.
Air frying chicken breast, marinated chicken breast, air frying them. Oh man. So that's what I did.
Well, that's pretty cool.
little broccoli in the air fryer as well. So good stuff.
Oh, shout out to Jimmy's Famous Seafood, by the way.
Absolutely, man.
I've started ordering some of their Jimmy's Famous Meals.com.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I have this shrimp Diavoli. I don't know what it is. Diavolo. That shit was so spicy. It's shrimp and like whole wheat penne pasta with a spicy marinara. But dude, my eyes were watering. My nose was running. It was fantastic. So can't recommend it enough. If you're looking for something that's good. And, I don't know, Black Rectangle Jones, Jimmy's Famous Meals.com.
Black Rectangle Jones. My favorite restaurant, and I've been to many of them in the entire world. And Lois Schiavone would say the same thing.
Oh, about Jimmy's?
Yes.
Dude, I wish we lived closer. For real. We'd be over there once a week. We'd probably tape our show there.
Absolutely. We should still, once this pandemic breaks, which it will eventually, we should go up there and do a few shows.
I think it would be great. Yeah. Just have a little fun. And by the way, I hope you guys have had fun with what we're doing. We're going to be back next week, every Saturday, 6:05, watching these shows in order. Just celebrating 1986, and we're going to have some special guests along the way. So stay tuned. Lots of fun stuff coming your way. But right now, Tony, looks like it's about that time.
Coming down the aisle through the entryway once again with all types of pyro and fire, it's Conrad Thompson holding on to that world championship belt that he does own. And one thing is for sure, you cannot say the word Conrad Thompson and romance novel in the same breath. We are desperately out of time. Tape machines are rolling.
Remember the days when you were always ready to go? Well, now you can be again with Blue Chew. They've got the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Take them anytime. You can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. And the process is super simple. You sign up at bluechew.com. You consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And man, once you're approved, you'll get your prescription in a few days. That's it. And here's the best part. It's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversation, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, prepared and shipped directly to your door, all in a discreet package. And Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Chew it and do it. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code WHW at checkout. Just pay the $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com. The promo code is WHW and you receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we want to thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson and you're listening to What Happened When? A little bonus action. It's Saturday at 6:05. You know what that means, Tony?
I do know what that means. That is Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling time here on Patron. And we're going to go back to March of 1986. We'll hear some from the great Bob Caudle. You know, one thing that I was thinking about here, it probably should have talked about. It doesn't seem that our talent roster is too deep.
Right.
And I guess it worked, though, because we were doing great business. They added Jimmy Garvin. You're going to see him wrestle here, or you at least listen to him talk. So they added him to kind of the main event roster. But, I mean, let's count it up. Cornette, Midnight Express, Flair, Garvin, Arn Anderson, Tully, Baron von Raschke, Magnum T.A., Nikita Ivan. That's 10. That's not... It just seems like we are here seeing the same guys and gals over and over and over.
Well, I think the idea is we're trying to show our stars and we're trying to sell tickets for the live events. And there are other guys there, but I'm with you. It's not a huge roster, especially by today's standards, or hell, for that matter, even the 1986 WWE roster. But they're making a lot out of it. This show, by the way, is only 49 minutes on the runtime. The way you find it is you click on the WWE Network, then click in ring. Scroll down until you see territories. You'll see the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling logo. That's what you want to click. And then you'll see March 1st, 1986, 49 minutes, Tony. And I think this taping happened at the Cumberland County Memorial Arena on February 17th, 1986 in Fayetteville, North Carolina. But of course it's airing here on March 1st. Tony, I'm ready when you are. Why don't you give us a little bit of a countdown? We'll get this show on the road.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1, play. Beating Dusty's ass, what they're doing, buddy.
How great is it seeing Dusty Rhodes catch a beating from Arn and Tully? It's just old classic shit, man.
Yes, it is. Taking the shoe and hitting him on the head.
That's JJ's shoe usually, right?
Usually, yeah.
Jim Crockett Promotion has signed a terrific array of matches for you this week. We've got an exciting hour in store for you. You're going to see the World Tag Team Champions, the Midnight Express, right here in action. The Rock and Roll Express will also be here. We'll have a World Television title match with Arn Anderson, the champion, putting the championship on the line again. Also, Ric Flair will show off his new, and it is something to behold, his new World Championship belt. Also, we're going to get our first look on Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling of gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and his valet Precious. But here is Jim Cornette, still with the racket, Jim.
Still with the racket. You see, Jim Crockett, he came out a long time ago, last week, and he said, for a long time now, you've been using your racket to interfere in wrestling matches. We're going to try to get an injunction to bar you from carrying a racket. But let me tell you something, it wasn't that easy, Jim Crockett, as you found out. because I had my mother's attorneys on a case in a matter of moments. They cited several legal precedents. It's cases like this, and in a short time, the whole thing was wrapped up satisfactorily in front of a judge. I'm still going to be allowed to carry the tennis racket. It's against my constitutional rights to bar the use of the tennis racket. You might as well stop the Rock and Roll Express from carrying bandanas because they might choke somebody with them. The plain fact of the matter is, it's illegal to bar somebody in a free country from carrying something as long as they don't interfere in the matches with it. I never use this racket to interfere. My Midnight Express are the World Tag Team Champions. Rock and Roll Express, we beat your brains out to take them, and there's nothing that the Rock and Roll Express or anybody else can do to deny the fact that I and the Express are the best.
Jim Cornette, and here they come, fans. That's it.
Cornette is a hell of a promo, whether he's on TBS, syndicated, wherever. Mm-hmm. And here come the Rock and Roll Express. Gonna make short work of Alexander and Dillinger, I'm sure. But man, I love seeing the Rock and Roll Express come through the crowd like this. It just feels like a happening.
Yeah. It as a matter of fact, I think that crowd shot of them coming through the ring, I think is, or through the crowd right there. I've seen that before in a couple of places. So
yeah. They use that everywhere.
Yeah, they use that a lot. And see the bandanas and the rock and roll shirt. And by the way, Cumberland County Memorial Arena in Fayetteville, North Carolina, we talked about on our companion show, World Championship Wrestling, we talked about my buddy Christopher Daniels, Curryman.
Yep.
That's his home.
Really?
Yeah, he used to come here and watch Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. That's where he says that was his home. So hell, he may be in the stands here somewhere.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Dave Dillinger and Ben Alexander on the losing side of this match here.
I like the look of this ring, don't you?
I do.
I like the setup, the wide camera shot there.
I think a friend of the show, David Brush, has these Rock and Roll Express outfits. I think he's got the tights and the boots and the bandanas and the whole thing. They were a big deal in 1986. And you sort of mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was right on the money. You'd recently watched that Bee Gees documentary from HBO. Mm-hmm. And you said Rock and Roll Express were kind of like the Bee Gees, where they were the biggest act in the world. And then all of a sudden, as Arn likes to say, they got their water cut off.
Yeah.
And I think you're onto something, because the Rock and Roll Express really are like the hottest tag team in 1986 in any promotion. Mm-hmm. And Lord, I love WWF in this era too, but I don't think they had a tag team that was as over as the Rock and Roll Express were. I mean, you could argue, oh, I like the British Bulldogs. Okay, that's cool. Oh, I like the Hart Foundation. All right, that's fine. But as far as the connection with the crowd, dude, Rock and Roll Express were it. But then just a handful of years later, 3 years later, it's like it was gone.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? Is it just pop culture changed, society changed, what girls thought was attractive had changed? I don't know what it is, but something changed.
Well, when they were brought in, I remember when we were told, and I think I heard this out of Jimmy Crockett's mouth, when they brought the Rock and Roll Express in, I remember they say they're going to bring them in. And Jimmy said, the 12-year-old girls love them. Well, 3 or 4 years later, they're no longer 12.
There you go.
And so they outgrew it.
Champion Nature Boy Ric Flair. Rick, you have finally got something, a thing of beauty there. I think that really is indicative of your style.
Well, Bob Caudle, I couldn't have said that better myself. You know, I never quite know how you're going to open up an interview with me. First of all, let's show all these high finance people in the world today what a real man dresses like when he walks out on a nationally televised wrestling program carrying $35,000 worth of gold, silver, diamonds, and rubies that's got my name written all over it. That's right. Jim Crockett Promotions presented me with a new World Heavyweight Championship belt as representatives, as the #1 representatives of the National Wrestling Alliance. You know why? Because just like Ric Flair, Jim Crockett goes first class. And he doesn't want anybody representing this corporation or anybody else in the world walking around with anything less than the best. That's why the new gold belt. And don't think, Bob Caudle, for one moment, they're not standing in line all over the world. You know, it's one thing to be Ric Flair. Woo, styling, profiling, looking finer than any man alive. But it's another to be Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight wrestling champion. Only one. And Dusty Rhodes, I know you got to be sitting somewhere right now with tears in your eyes, just like Garvin, just like Magnum, just like the Raging Bull, just like Wagner McDaniels, just like anybody else that has to take a back seat to all this. I mean, really, Bob Caudle, we talk about Dean Smith in North Carolina. They're synonymous with Ric Flair. You know why? Because they are number one, just like the world champion. And when my name's on that marquee, right out there in the bright lights, the people that respect and watch professional wrestling know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, woo, they're going to see the greatest athlete alive today in action. So, boys, get in line because the man's going to be here for a long, long time.
Heavyweight champion fans, we'll be back.
How great does that belt look right there?
Belt looks great, and that suit, man.
Michael's of Kansas City.
Accents. Oh, I looked up Michael's of Kansas City.
They're still there.
They're still there, man. Quality. I don't know why. I guess because he probably want to charge him $50,000. Why they don't mention they made suits for Ric Flair. I don't know if they did back in the day or not. He gave him a lot of pub.
Yeah, he did.
So.
Hey, so let's talk about Michael's of Kansas City. I've never been. Have you been?
Michael's of Kansas City? No.
Let's go.
Really?
At some point this year, let's go and let's take some of our low key big hogs and let's do a little shopping spree. Some of us can go get fitted.
Fit our low key big hogs of Michael's of Kansas City.
Dude, I think it would be great. We could go have some barbecue. I'm sure there's a local wrestler we could bring in.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, I would love for you and I to go get some, like each a suit tailor-made for Michael's of Kansas City. And then on the inside, instead of it saying made for the world champion, Ric Flair, made for the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. And you rock that shit on a big pay-per-view. What do you think the big AEW pay-per-view is? What's the AEW WrestleMania? All Out?
Nah, well, to me, it's Double or Nothing. That's only because I was there. You know,
the first one. You're right.
Yeah.
So we might not have the suit in time for this year, but we could get a suit in time for next year for Double or Nothing. You could be tailor-made, custom-made every day of your life, Tony Schiavone. I think it'd be awesome. What if I told you they had Tommy Bahama, you fucking mark? Would you go then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure Michael's has some. Look at the slingshot suplex. I'll never forget seeing him hit that shit on Ray Traylor last week.
Good stuff, man.
I like the little float over for the pin too. That's good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, here come the rock and rolls with Bob Caudle. Track it.
Excite a crowd anywhere like you two. The Rock and Roll Express fans. Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson.
Well, thank you, Bob. I'd like to talk about the Midnight Express here because I got something that belongs to the Rock and Roll Express. I talk about the World Tag Team titles. Jimmy Cornette, we know you got a racket that you used on us before. Also that belt that y'all whipped me across the back with. Let me tell you something, boy. Every dog has got his day, and yours is just right around the corner.
That's right, Bob. You know Jimmy Cornette's come out here several times. Say what's up. What's that, Big Dust?
Dusty Rhodes.
I don't want to interrupt my man, you understand? But I got something for you. You know, a few months ago, when Baby Doll was on the other side of the moon, you understand, before she rode on the Milky Way, I had to do something with her one time. Remember, Bob Caudle? And I brought Betty Lou out, and we put her high in the ceiling to take care of business. You boys stay right here. I'm gonna give you a.
Hey, and I know what Betty Lou is. I don't know whether the fans know, Dusty, but I know what Betty Lou is, and there it is.
I'm giving Betty Lou to you. You put Jim Cornette in this cage, and you gonna take care of business.
Betty Lou is coming out tonight, baby. Jimmy Cornette, we told you we had something for you. This time, you're gonna be 80 feet in the air. No way to interfere with their matches. They say that Jimmy Cornette don't like flying in an airplane. Jimmy Cornette, Betty Lou don't have wings. She's liable to fall. But we're coming after you. You're Midnight Express, and we don't care what it takes. And we'd like to say thank you, Dusty. Woo!
Yes, sir.
All right, Rock and Roll Express fans, back to the ring. The German, Baron von Raschke, Johnny. With number.
I like the Rock and Rolls. I don't know. I think they had more energy when they did it in an arena rather than a studio.
Yeah.
Robert Gibson sometimes just look nervous.
Yeah, I know. It's almost as if sometimes we really shouldn't have asked him to talk. But he talked, and there you go. Oh, I was looking ahead here. We got Sam Houston.
Imagine that. A Sam Houston promo.
A filler promo. Oh.
Are you going to start? Are we going to listen to all of them? Or are you going to start like?
I can start doing some shit.
Thank you. Let's make fun of it.
We can make fun of him. Poor old Baron here was kind of like near the end of his run.
Oh, of course, dude.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like a substitute teacher.
Yeah, he had shoulder surgery and he really couldn't really raise. I think maybe it was
the left shoulder
too high.
Yeah, 'cause he's not there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you know what? I can pull this up in the Midnight Express book right now.
Pull it up.
Let's see what we got. By the way, this book is sold out. It's hard to get, but there are some on eBay. Have you looked at what wrestling books are costing these days, by the way?
No.
Dude, I saw like the Gary Hart book is several $100s. The Lou Albano book is several $100s. This one I'm holding, I saw one sell the other day for $450. And I bought this off his table for $25 years ago. Yeah. So there's two tapings here. The Gate here in Fayetteville, North Carolina is $30,731. How about that?
Fayetteville was a pretty good drive from Charlotte. I recall like 2.5 hours, 2 hours, something like that. We like Spartanburg.
The master of the claw.
You know, sometimes there would be a race back to Charlotte.
Really?
From these tapings. Yeah.
Just the guys are just having something to do and entertain themselves. Let's go.
Yeah. I remember Ricky Morton one time said, man, I made it from Spartanburg to Charlotte in like 45 minutes.
Look at Jimmy Garvin strutting that ass. This is heat right here. I mean, he has go away heat with his fucking Mickey Mouse gloves and his sequin shit. Does he not? And she's walking around spraying. This is heel heat stuff. Y'all fans stink. Here you go. Mm-hmm. Did your mom or wife used to spray that aerosol shit all over your house to make it smell good?
Mm-hmm. Mom did. Lysol.
Oh, well, that's different. She was trying to disinfect shit because you're gross as fuck.
No, but Lysol also had an air freshener too. I mean, it just had that Lysol.
I bet y'all use Carpet Fresh too, you fucking marks. All right, so let's listen to what Tony Schiavone's saying here.
Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin impression. We're here, you know. I'm so excited by the looks of things around here. We're going to have to start ordering this disinfectant by the gallons, Daddy.
Freaked out here. You all don't know what's going on. Gorgeous Jimmy's here.
Take it easy, though. Take it easy. I know I've been getting a lot of cards and letters from all the wrestling fans here associated with the great Jim Crockett Promotions. And I would like everybody out there to know that gorgeous Jimmy Garvin is still the greatest wrestler in the world. And you know, Tony, it's not my fault. I've been going around the world. I've been touring Japan. I've been touring. All right, now wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's not get started off on the wrong foot. Settle down, settle down. You know, I have this problem, Tony, everywhere I go. I have this problem of people not really wanting to listen to the truth. You got a few people around here that later on in the weeks to come, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin is going to be letting a few skeletons out of the closet, so to speak. I'm going to let a few cats out of the bag, so to speak. You know, I couldn't think of a better way to start this relationship off right now than to let you people on a real big scoop. There's a real big scoop, and I'll let you people in on it if you just settle down and mind your manners. Yeah, I know. I know it's a little hard to take looking at the best looking man in the world, you know. It's a little hard for them to take looking at the greatest looking wrestler in the world. But I found out some news, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
We found out some news. You know, the people around here, they seem to look up to this Magnum T.A. character, you know. Magnum T.A. Well, let me tell you something. Magnum T.A. used to be a male dancer in San Francisco. Did you know that? That is the truth. That is the truth. Magnum T.A., I'm going to let the cat out of the bag right now. Precious here tried to get him to sign a contract to wrestle me right here in this very ring. And we wouldn't sign the contract.
That little wimp Magnum T.A. ran when I came.
But take it easy, take it easy. You know, there's another thing. A lot of people around here, I read the newspapers and I keep up on what's going on. And a lot of people have referred to the fact that they like to see women that are kind of 10s, you know what I mean? A 10. Well, if you want to see a 10, you take a look at this right here, because this right here is the only 10 in the whole wide world. And that's the truth too, Tony. I feel like having a little kiss, so just excuse me for a minute, all right?
Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and Precious.
Wait a minute, I'm not finished. I just said I wanted to have a little kiss. Now, the fact is, Magnum T.A. in my books is a big coward. And there's a lot of other cowards running around here, but I'm going to talk about them later. But for all the wrestling fans and all over the world, I want you to know that gorgeous Jimmy Garvin is here. And I'm not here to play, I'm here to stay. And all you people, just take a look at the 10. The only 10 in the whole wide world today.
You ready to go? Okay, let's go back to Bob Caudle and Johnny Weaver. Woo! Hey, Johnny, how about that?
Whoa,
well,
boy.
I tell you, the first time that we got to look.
He's flamboyant, to say the least.
I like the idea that you guys did a promo in the middle of the ring. It was sort of unusual for what you guys had been doing. And then as soon as it's done, 4 wrestlers just climb in the ring.
I thought it was odd to see him standing there, right? Watching the promo.
Yeah.
Although that was kind of a monotonous interview, kind of went on and on and on, but still, you're right. Mickey Mouse looking shit, heat.
He's heat, man. And by the way, we've got your boy, the Barbarian here. Tommy Young is our referee.
Yeah.
And Paul Jones is on the outside, of course, managing Barbarian. But most importantly, the long lost member of the Khan family, Mr. Tejo Khan himself. We've been talking about this for a few weeks now that Tejo's been on the program. Have you had a chance to pick Tony's brain about his favorite uncle?
Yeah. Here's what I said to him. I said, I want to talk to you about your favorite uncle, Tejo Khan. And he said, who? I said, it's just a bullshit lie that Conrad Thompson's come up with. And that was the end of it. So we talked about it.
And what did he say?
He said, I understand at boxgimmicks.com, there's a shirt that says you a lie. I said, yeah.
Shout out to Tony. By the way, I looked it up during that 38-minute promo from Mr. Garvin. It's 138 miles from Fayetteville, North Carolina to Charlotte, North Carolina. And as they say, it's 2 hours and 33 minutes. It's all on Interstate 74.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember it taking 2.5 hours.
You just said earlier it was 2.5 hours.
But I remember trying to race guys back.
Yeah.
I literally remember racing guys back. Rock and Roll Express in the car. I was in the car. Sometimes I was in the car with Tully in his Cadillac. And sometimes I was with Nikita. Sometimes I was with Jim Cornette, and somebody would zoom by us and we'd zoom by them. And all of a sudden we'd pull off saying, it's enough. But that happened.
You ever seen any good ribs on the road?
No, not at all. I remember one time, and this may have been a Fayetteville trip. I had a flat tire And I pulled over the side of the road and was changing my tire, and some fans stopped to help me. And those fans who stopped actually didn't help me, but they stopped to see if I needed help. And it was a carload of females.
And you helped yourself to something else?
No. So I'm standing along the side of the road. I think it was a Fayetteville trip. And there's 4 girls standing there with me. And Jimmy Valiant goes by.
Oh, Jim Crockett Jr. or Senior Memorial Cup. Let's track it for a minute.
All right, fam.
Nope, never mind. It's Sam Houston. Continue your story.
And so Jimmy Valiant, actually Sam Houston may have stopped by as well. And they said, "Hey, Tony, what are them girls doing there with you? They doing there with you? Are they inflating your tires for you? Or are they helping me put something on the axle?" I just know girls in my day used to help me inflate my tires. Some of them just blow on the stem, and it would inflate the tires up. And I want to say here that I've got a Mid-Atlantic Championship belt right now. And I tell you, here's the deal. This Mid-Atlantic Championship belt leads to a lot of girls blowing up your tires, if you know what I mean. And it also leads to greasing up the axle, if you know what I mean as well. So there it is. There's my talk about cars. I saw Schiavone alongside the road with them 4 girls there. And I said, "Listen, I know you don't need any help because you got plenty of help." And Schiavone said, "Listen, I really got a flat tire and I really need some help. And you motherfuckers just blew right by." I shouldn't use that word blow. "You motherfuckers just blew right by me and didn't help me with my goddamn tire. And I needed some help." And I said, "Listen, I'm about 5 beers in and I've done some bumping and I'm tired. I ain't gonna put on a tire. Your fat ass, only thing you've been doing is sit behind the microphone and talking. Hell, the only thing he did in this show was stand in the ring with Jimmy Garvin with that shitty interview. So I think he could get the tire himself. I don't know what them girls are doing there to help him. Maybe they just want an autograph. I'm not sure. The fact is, I know Schiavone. I don't trust him. He's from Georgia. Well, he's from Virginia, but he lived in Georgia most of his life. So you shouldn't trust some bitch like that." Nelson, what do you think about all this talking about Schiavone and his tires and the girls? Well, back in my day, we didn't have tires. We had horses. We rode horses, and the horse went lame. You shot him. And girls would come by and they say, "Don't shoot that horse." And I'd say, "Girl, I got to make my way to Mooresville and I got to be there by 2 a.m. and the horse ain't helping me out. So I got to shoot him." And I know it's not good to shoot horses, but that's the way we did back in my day. And by the way, that belt that Ric Flair has, I made that belt myself. I had it made I made it myself. And that's why it's so good looking. And I'd like to thank Sam for letting me be in this interview. I'd like to thank Jim Crockett Promotions for letting us fill this time. And Schiavone, only thing Sam and I got to say is right there, start filling the air in your tires yourself. Nikita, take your shirt off.
Track it.
Nikita Koloff, Ivan.
There's even Americans like this Jimmy Garvin that recognize Magnum T.A. as being a coward. Also, the truth is, Magnum T.A., there's been no response from you. No signing of a contract to wrestle nephew Nikita on television. I guess it's true what I've been saying about you. You are afraid. You are a coward. Well, Magnum T.A., the fact is, the Kremlin has ordered nephew Nikita not to wrestle on television anymore until you get enough guts to sign a contract to wrestle on television with the United States Heavyweight Championship title at stake against nephew Nikita. But if you want to be a coward, you'll have to live with that embarrassment. You'll have to face your family, your friends. Hey, Nikita! If you want to be this kind of a champion, Magnum T.A.
Hey, look in the ring. There's Magnum.
What does he want?
Nikita Koloff, I'm not a hard man to find. I'm not backing down from anybody, and I'm tired of all your idle threats. So why don't you bring your big, bad self down here right now? Here's the title. I'll put it up. I'm going to take you to beat.
Hey, Nicky.
He's challenging right here.
No contract signed yet. This Magnum T.A., I know he is up to something. I know he's up to something. He never signed contract. Nikita.
Oh, let's see how bad you are. Here's the title.
He's not going to go out there. You signed the contract, Magnum T.A., to wrestle Nikita on television. Oh, I see that now. He has his friends with him. This Ron Bass. And this Jimmy Garvin.
Why you got all these friends?
Tried to set the trap.
You think of Nikita don't got the brain.
It looks like some cowards are red.
You got all you friends. Maybe you got American Dream Hide. Maybe Rhodes Warrior Hide Magnum T.A. Put your name down. Leave your friend down. Leave your friend down.
The Russians fans to the ring. 6-man tag team action here.
Okay, so not Magnum, but Nikita having his shirt on there, that kind of made sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to pull it off. I get it.
6-man action here, though. Ron Bass, Ron Garvin, and everybody's favorite, Manny Fernandez.
And you notice how Magnum was getting out of the ring as they were standing there?
Yep.
Because they said 6-man tag, and you look in the ring, you see Magnum, and at first you're thinking, oh, maybe Magnum's in the 6-man tag, but he's not. And it's just, they wanted to cut down on the Rock and Roll Express, the only team that really had an entrance here.
Right.
Everybody else kind of started in the ring.
Made it special.
And they're wasting some time. They could have entrances by the time they got this done.
Yeah, they're going to be taking on Tony Zane, Jim, and Mac Jeffers, the opponents who are going to be on the losing side here today. We got Dusty Rhodes cutting a promo next, though, so there's something to look forward to. We've also got the Midnight Express taking on Sam Houston and Nelson Royal. We've heard all about that bulldog they've perfected. And then Cowboy Ron Bass is going to cut a promo. I love him. Such a throwback. And then our main event here on the syndicated program is Arn Anderson versus Rocky Kernoodle. The actual show that day got a little bonus match, Magnum T.A. and the world champion Ric Flair in the main event.
Wow.
So U.S. champ versus world champ. That's worth sticking around for, even if it's not going to make air.
Yeah.
The
old dark matches, man.
The next day, you guys were in Greenville, South Carolina. It was a Rock and Roll Express versus the Midnight Express, 2 out of 3 falls. And, they drove $24,000 for that. The next day they're in Valley Forge, PA. Again, Rock and Roll versus Midnights, $20,000 there. How about this one though? In Baltimore, it's a huge show. It's the first ever Express battle in Baltimore, along with Flair and Dusty in the main event. There's 13,000 fans in attendance. It's a sellout for $132,000.
Whoa.
SaveWithConrad.com.
My name is Doug Gustafson, and we are from Columbus, Ohio. First learned of Conrad through his podcast network. I'm a big 83 Weeks fan. Probably got into a little bit more credit card debt than what we wanted to during the course of the pandemic. We wanted to get rid of some of that. My wife and I had luckily bought the house many years ago and had quite a bit of equity built up in it. We are looking to actually redo our bathroom, things around the house that we wanted to do with the other equity that we have left over. We've been talking about refinancing forever, and I finally just took the plunge and called the number, got a hold of him, and from start to finish, it was just fantastic. I had Diane within the day. The communication with her was fantastic. The process moved quicker than I could have ever hoped. My name's Doug Gustafson from Columbus, Ohio. I ended up saving $800 a month with Save with Conrad, and am able to also update our bathroom.
NMLS number 32416, equal housing lender, SaveWithConrad.com. Baltimore.
That's big money, buddy.
Hot, baby.
Big money. Baltimore Arena used to be the Baltimore Civic Center, became the arena. Now it's like Country Farms something or whatever. Yeah, they got a sponsor. One of the great arenas. Had that big stage, and they would close the curtains on the stage, and we would all hang out back, behind the curtain there. It was pretty cool. Love Baltimore. A lot of rooms, a lot of different rooms in the back, small rooms.
Check this out. He's got a picture of his check in here. I'm going to try to show you this, see if you can see it. But it's got his stub, and let me read what it says here.
All right.
Raleigh, $350. Greenville, $285. Spartanburg, $40. That's TV. That's TV.
Yeah.
Roanoke, $750. Norfolk, $1,350. Columbus, $200. Cincinnati, $1,250. That's $1,250. Another TV for $40. Atlanta is $1,000. His total check that week, $5,265. I guess he had to pay Barry, whoever that is, $25 for his licensing fee. And he got $5,240 that week.
Wow. A hell of a week, man. A hell of a week here in 2021.
Here he is, the American Dream.
Dusty Rhodes and Baby Doll. Dusty, Tully Blanchard says that in 4 weeks, he's going to strip you of that championship.
Well, Bobby Cottle, you know, Tully Blanchard does a lot of real bad talking, you understand? I think that now it's time, Tully Blanchard. It's time, Arn Anderson. It's time, Ric Flair, for Dusty Rhodes just to raise a little. And going worldwide throughout this major television network throughout this country, it's good to be alive and in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Tully Blanchard gave me 4 weeks, said, Dusty Rhodes, you got 4 weeks. I'm going to take the national heavyweight title from you. It said, Dusty Rhodes, Arn Anderson is running around with your world's TV title. And the nature boy, Ric Flair, looking clean as I ever seen him. Well, these clothes I got on my back is just about all I have that I wear around the streets. And I think I look clean as I am. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. Dusty, I got to ask you, though, here about gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and Precious.
Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. We just seen one of the greatest athletes in the country come out here, but Jimmy Garvin, I don't have a lot to say about Jimmy Garvin and Precious. All I want to show you right here is this is made in the USA. This here, Bob Cottle, is Mother Nature's gift to Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, and we do it so good, yeah.
Whether you like it or not, there's no two men in professional wrestling that can beat this team in a match. Loverboy Dennis and beautiful Bobby the Midnight Express.
So even though it's not last, to me, this is the main event. You got the Rock and Rolls against Sam Houston and Nelson Royal. And we said earlier that only Rock and Rolls got the entrance, but we kind of forgot that Jim Cornette did this special entrance for him where he would be in the ring. And then we get to see him come out and show off those tag titles. What'd you think of Dusty's promo there?
Did he say fuck at the end of it?
I mean, we got a bleep in there, didn't we?
Yeah. It almost feels like that was the word that wow. Well, there you go. Dusty, he was the booker, right? He could do what he wanted to do. Baby doll was so photogenic. Jeez, man. She looked good in purple. That's what Sam thought.
She's a lovely lady.
Yes. Lovely lady. Do you have any dealings with her?
Yeah, we had her at, in Baltimore. Starcast 4. She's a nice
We're just thinking it could be an ad-free shows thing.
No, yeah. We talked about it on one of our Monday roundtable things, I think that you missed, but we had our little huddle and we've got some tricks up our sleeve this year. Stay tuned for that.
You always have tricks up your sleeve.
Well, we're trying to add value, man. We're trying to do cool stuff. And, I don't know if you saw, but we just got the Nitro girls together.
Yeah, I saw that. It was, I know you had, Mike Kolb be the host of that. And, I'm sure it was a lot of fun. Look at Nelson, man.
Were you more of a Spice or a Fire girl guy?
Spice was my girl, man.
That's what I thought.
Spice was my girl. That was, and still is, a smile to beat all. No one smiled like Melissa. No one. Still today, that's got one of the greatest smiles ever. So a lot of guys look at the body and they look at the butt and they look at the boobs. I go for the smile. You have no response to that.
Well, I don't know what to say when you're being creepy old man.
I'm not being creepy old man. I said she had a beautiful smile. She does, still does to this day. Everybody saw it. It was in the graphic. Her big smile.
Big smile.
Big smile.
Big smile.
You're just like you're terrible. You are terrible.
How?
How do you think? You're freaking terrible. Man, we've got like 12 minutes left in the show and we still got a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Well, we got two things. Cowboy Ron Bass, he's just going to be take up time here. You know, the
dude, that drop kick from Sam Houston's pretty good.
Yes, Sam. And you know what? I think Dennis may not be selling here. Look, he's talking to he's telling the Cornette, that fucker really kicked me. If in fact Sam did really kick him, you're going to see a receipt here.
Oh, for sure. Not from Bobby, but from Dennis.
No, from Dennis. Those working punches.
Was there, I mean, what besides tan and take steroids and get a good haircut, was there anything Bobby Eaton couldn't do?
No. He was without a doubt the best. Well, not one of the best workers ever.
If he seriously got on the gas, got a new haircut and was tan, Vince would have flipped out to have a guy like that.
Yeah. You know, you're talking about the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah.
And how the Rock and Roll Express's time was short.
I didn't say that. You said that.
Well, I said that, and it was. Come on, it was.
But where you're going is the Midnight Express, sort of the same thing.
Yeah. But remember when, and of course, Shawn Michaels has become the greatest worker ever, deservedly so, known as the greatest worker ever. Some people say Flair. So anyway, I remember when they started the Rockers in the WWE or WWF back then. I thought it was a ripoff of Ricky and Robert. I thought, look at these. They're putting two guys together, call them the Rockers, and we have the Rock and Roll Express. And I don't know when the Rockers actually debuted, but it was shortly after midnight. I mean, Rock and Roll had their run on TBS around that time. Am I right?
Well, buddy, do you know what their name was?
What?
The Midnight Rockers.
Oh.
They started teaming up in 85 and they teamed until 92. But when they first came on the scene, they were the Midnight Rockers. But of course, when they went to the WWF, they were just the Rockers.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were the Midnight Rockers, and didn't you say AEW? I mean, AWA, right?
NWA Central States and the AWA. And they had a couple other, like territory runs. They were briefly in Continental and all that. And they were the Midnight Rockers through all of that.
Yeah.
But by the time they actually get called up to the main roster for real, they're just the Rockers. But yeah, everybody says that they were a ripoff because, and I get it, especially when you consider the success that both the Midnight Express and the Rock and Rolls were having in 84. Well, they just combined their names, and you saw other indie guys over the years do that. I mean, there used to be Macho Warrior Rick Hogan, you know, like everybody rips off something. I get that. But it turns out Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels were two incredible fucking performers.
Yep. You're not kidding.
And look at them right there. Midnights and the Rock and Rolls. Let's track it because they're going banana.
This place is coming unglued, Bob.
Man, they were ready. Just a simple racket shot and the fans were ready. And when the Rock and Roll showed up, dude, it was magic.
Yeah. The building was actually shaking. You could see the camera shaking.
Yeah.
When they come in, watch, they've got this camera shot. When they come in, hit this, well, they cut off on it.
But it starts shaking. You can see it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the double drop kick gets them both out of the ring. Yeah. It's great stuff. You know, it almost feels like paint by numbers wrestling at times because it is all textbook, but it's well done. And they continue to promote the Crockett Cup. That's on the short list of collectibles I can't find that I'm looking for, man. I want that red NWA TV title, and I want that Crockett Cup, and I want this Ron Bass interview with Bob Caudle.
And get in and go against any of them. Cowboy Ron Bass. Ron,
before I get started, who said that Jim Cornette wasn't an athlete? Look like to me he can run pretty good when the going gets a little tight. When it gets just a little hot, he can dadgum sure get them little legs to turn and get away. But I want to talk about somebody that's cut out of the same mode. One Paul Jones. You know, Jones, you come out here 3 or 4 weeks ago, a month, whatever it was, you were sticking that chest way out, saying, I've got the strongest man in professional wrestling, but you only had one man at the time. You says, I'm willing to put up $10,000 that this man can beat anybody in professional wrestling in any kind of feat of strength that you can discuss. Well, Jones, I heard that sitting back there in the dressing room, and about that time I was making out Christmas bills. I was looking at Uncle Sam, I had to pay a few taxes, and $10,000 kind of rung a bell in my head. I said, Jones, hey, for $10,000, there's a lot of people that like to try, and I want to be the first one. So I come out there and I said, Jones, put the name on the line, which he did. But then he got kind of just a little nervous and kind of do a little back crawling. And all of a sudden, he's turned up with some new men. He's been putting the big cowboy off. He's been dodging the issue. He's brought the Baron von Reschke in. Now he's got the big Kubla Khan or whatever his name is. He's trying to surround himself with an army. He's trying to back up a little bit and take a second chance at it. Well, Jones, does that tell me you've had second thoughts? Does that tell me you're kind of turning a little yellow? Well, if that is, Jones, it's just too bad the contracts have been signed. I'm going to go to Jim Crockett. I'm going to say, what about this signed contract? Let's get it on, brother. Jones has put it up. Now it's time to put up or shut up. It's time for the big barbarian, the big animal, brother, to take on the cowboy. And when you get a cowboy mean, you get an old country boy kind of hungry, he can do a lot of things. And you better believe, Jones, for $10,000, I will take on your whole army if I had to. So, Jones, you can run, boy, and you can keep dodging, but my day is going to come, and it's going to come sooner than you think. And $10,000 is going to come out of that pocket of yours. $10,000 of that blood money that you've been earning for years that you hadn't had to work for. It's going to come to the cowboy, and you can mark my words on it, Jones. It's coming my way.
I have a newfound appreciation for him as we watch this old stuff.
He knew how to do an interview. Really knew how to do an interview.
He's tremendous.
And he knew how to bring everybody in. And we talked about Cornette. Ron Bass was very, very good. One thing that I thought about there when Ron is doing that interview.
Yeah.
He talked about Jones having the strongest men in professional wrestling. He used the term professional wrestling a lot. We used it a lot here during this era. When I got to the WWF in '89, I was told that we don't say professional wrestling.
Mm.
And Bruce is the one that told me this. He said, where you remember saying we are the best, he is the best in professional wrestling, you say he is the best in the WWF.
Yes.
They were professional wrestling. They thought if you say, and they were right, really, they thought if you say, I am the best in professional wrestling, you were acknowledging other territories. And that was an old school way of doing it. But the WWF didn't do that. And I think still to this day, they don't do that. But AEW, we do.
Yeah.
We use the term professional wrestling. Well, again, because, we've done some things with Impact. We've used some independent guys. So, it's all about what you think and what you want. Now, independent wrestling and other factions of wrestling are bigger now than they used to be thanks to the internet. So, and, we've had Kenta from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and who knows what that's going to lead to. So, but anyway, going back to that, professional wrestling was no longer a part of my vernacular when I went to WWE. And when I came back to WCW, I remember thinking that's what we should say too.
What? He's the best in WCW?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think we did that for a while. I think a lot of that's because we had guys who'd been in the WWF,
right.
Okerlund, Heenan, Hogan, Savage. So the old WWF from the 80s had a profound impact on WCW in the 90s. I mean, obviously.
Branding, baby.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon knew how to do it better than anybody in the space.
Sure.
And he understood the big picture. And I think that's probably one of the geniuses of Vince McMahon is he gets the big picture. And sometimes we fans get so far in the wrestling bubble that we don't see it. Like, I don't know if you saw, but they have a big time rapper who's a big part of the program now called Bad Bunny. And he won the 24/7 championship. And a lot of fans online were pretty upset about it. But he's like the most downloaded artist on Spotify, or one of them. Mm-hmm. And he was even the musical guest on Saturday Night Live this past weekend. So that's going to get some new attention, some new eyeballs. I don't know. I get it. And I understand that a lot of people wish it wasn't that way, but it works for me, man.
It's kind of like in the David Arquette mode, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you're looking for publicity. First of all, it's not like he's the fucking world champion, you know?
Right.
He's not.
But you're looking for publicity and you're looking for crossover.
Well,
you're looking for getting new eyeballs on your product.
This past week, you guys had Shaq. You don't think there were new people tuning in to watch that show? Of course there were.
Yeah. And sometimes you can get hooked. You don't think you can, but you can get hooked. Look at this replay shot from this far away.
I love this angle. Like you're in a seat, and as a fan, I like that.
Some dickhead threw a cup in. So look at Tommy kick it out. Did you see how cool he kicked it out?
So casual. Yeah. Here's Bob Cottle. Let's track him.
Fantastic hour we had in store for you. You saw the World Tag Team Champions of Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express, who I've never seen a team excite the crowd any more than they do. And the television champion put his title on the line, Arn Anderson. Also, we got our first look at gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and Precious and Dusty and Baby Doll. Well, you never know. Fans, that's going to do it. We'll see you next week. And until then, so long for now.
Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling is a presentation of the JCP Sports Network and has been furnished to the station for broadcast at this time in exchange for commercial consideration.
Have you always said that, or is that the first time we heard it?
No, that was always said during the syndicated shows. And there was a voice that said that at the end of all Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling shows when I was growing up. And for me to say that, it was a big fucking deal. That was like me saying, you wanted the best, you got the best, the greatest band in the world, Kiss.
Nobody gave a shit about that but you, though.
Exactly. It was a big deal, man. It was like, fuck, we want you to say this line. You fucking A, I'll say it, man. I heard it all my life.
I love you, good. Tony. It's fun that you get excited about this. And of course, we're excited to be back next week. It's every Saturday at 6:05. Let's give you a real quick preview of what you can expect. We've got an interview with the Russians calling out Magnum T.A. Magnum T.A. will actually be in action, teaming with Ron Garvin against a couple of enhancement talent. Garvin has some chosen words for Ric Flair. Robert Gibson is in a rare singles match here against Mark Fleming. Dusty Rhodes is going to cut a promo. The Road Warriors will be here. They're probably going to win very quickly. Paul Jones is here. Arn Anderson is going to give us a look that we're going to talk about for weeks. We've got Jim Cornette talking about an injury they put on Ricky Morton. Tully Blanchard will be here to take on Rocky Kernoodle. JJ Dillon is going to have some promo time. Black Bart will be in action against George South. Jim Jeffers will take on Arn Anderson. The Road Warriors are going to talk about the Crockett Cup. And Magnum T.A. has a promo right after we see some in-ring action from the Midnight Express. So every Saturday, 6:05, exclusive here to patreon.com/WHW Monday. And of course on adfreeshows.com, we're watching the syndicated show. So we appreciate you guys being with us here. You can get the video as well in both places. And just thank you for all you do for us. It means a lot, doesn't it, Tony, that we have so many family members and so much support at Ad-Free Shows and on Patreon?
We are growing. I think it's great that Kurt Angle is now with us.
Yep.
Wonderful stuff. And it makes us bigger. We are growing, and it's because of everybody out there. And like you just said at the end of this, you can tell when I'm having a good time. I'm just having a good time being a part of all of this. I really am.
We are too, man. But all good things must come to an end. And right now, Tony, it looks like it's about that time.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the side of the road, Tony Schiavone is trying to put that tire onto the axle, and there's about 4 girls there watching. The one of them's got a flashlight. Jimmy Valiant comes by and says, Tony, Boogie says he knows where you can put that flashlight. You want to put it? And we're desperately out of time. We'll see you next week on What Happened When and on ad-free shows. Each and every week we come to you on
Patreon. Patreon.com/WHW Monday. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.